Welcome back, America. Senator Tom Cotton, who is a great senator. He was a veteran, a combat veteran. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Mark. Thank you for the kind words. Thanks for having me back on.
It's my pleasure. You know, Senator, this stuff about the Supreme Court really is bizarre. It is a power grab by the left where they talk about packing the court. The media don't really criticize them for these comments. They criticize the Republican Senate, the president, for following the Constitution. They want to pack the Senate. They want to eliminate the filibuster rule. They're talking about impeaching the president. They are reckless thugs. And this is what's going to happen during election night, I fear.
Yeah, Mark, let me just point out to you and all your listeners that what the Democrats are threatening to do, should we exercise our constitutional responsibility, they were already promising to do in the first place. The Democrats are threatening to riot in the streets. Well, Democrats have been rioting in the streets for 4 months. And they've been promising to eliminate the filibuster and to make Washington, D.C. a state and to pack the Supreme Court and to pass Nancy Pelosi's radical voting law and to grant amnesty and voting rights to 15 million illegals. They've already been promising to take these radical steps. That's not a reason for Republicans to refuse to do our job. It is a reason for Americans not to vote for Democrats because they can be trusted with power.
What do you make of these reports that the suburbs are moving towards Biden? Why in the world, given Biden's plan for the suburbs, given the violence that the Democrat Party has really, in my view, stoked, why would the suburbs be moving toward Biden? Do you believe that?
Yeah, well, we will see in about 6 weeks if it's the case. If people around the country want to put their life and their property in the hands of these radical Democrats. What happens when you entrust mayor office or governor's office to a Democrat in places like Minneapolis and Portland and Seattle? Do you really want President of the United States and a general, other than calling for deploying the National Guard or necessary prosecuting?
We're getting hiccups in your call. Can we hook up with you real fast again? Mr. Producer, can you handle this, please? Yeah, we're getting hiccups, as you all can hear, and the Senator has important things to say, and I want you to hear them. In the meantime, just so you know, it is breaking news. Air Force Two, carrying the Vice President of the United States, had to turn back to go to Washington. It's believed to be the fact that it hit a bird shortly after takeoff. And by the way, those are dangerous as hell. So they've since returned, and they landed safely. So the Vice President of the United States, Air Force Two, had to turn around and come back to Washington, D.C. because they believe it hit a bird. Maybe he should have stayed on with me for 30 seconds longer, Mr. Producer. Then that may not have happened. You never know. But they're safe. Senator Cotton, you were saying, sir, I'm sorry.
Apologies for that, Mark. The infrastructure and wireless network that we have around here is exactly what you'd have nationwide in your infrastructure if you trust it to Joe Biden and the Democrats. But no, I was saying suburban voters, I cannot imagine, will want to trust their lives, their family safety, their property in the hands of Joe Biden and these radical Democrats who have been celebrating rioters in the street for the last 4 months, who refuse to prosecute them, who sometimes refuse to even arrest them. So we'll see in 6 weeks how the votes turn out.
You know, there's a report out tonight, and Matt Gaetz is all over this, thankfully, that Bloomberg and other very wealthy people are paying off the debt that ex-felons in Florida owe, because there was a court case that the governor, DeSantis, won there, that they have to pay off their debt before they can vote. They're going down there, they're paying off the debt of 31,000 ex-felons because, as they point out, the vast majority are going to vote Democrat. Doesn't that sound strikingly like bribery or something to you?
It is pretty telling that the Democrats think that the felon vote goes for them and that they are willing to pony up to pay off the fines that these convicted criminals have faced and have refused or been unable to pay off thus far. And people should keep that in mind, that the Democrats are the party of ex-cons and felons, people who obviously have shown no respect for the law in the past and who have a vested interest in having laws and prosecutors and executives who are lax on criminal law enforcement.
You know, when I was a kid working precincts, long time ago, Senator, for Ronald Reagan in 76 and 80 in Pennsylvania, if we had done anything, certainly financially, to ensure that people could vote, I think I'd be in prison still. I just find this to be unbelievable, that billionaire can go in there and pay off people's debts so they can vote. That just smells to me. I want to talk to you about China. I thought the president really laid into China today, and rightly so, at the United Nations. China is a grave threat to America, isn't it? And tell everybody why.
China is the gravest threat we face. In some ways, it's a more grave threat than was the Soviet Union because its economy is so much larger and more powerful, and we've allowed its economy to become so entangled with our economy. So there's a vast China lobby in corporate America and in Washington that is basically standing up for the interest of the Chinese Communist Party, not for American workers and American families. Now, we still have the world's strongest economy, we still have the world's strongest military, but it is past time that we recognize the threat that Chinese communism poses to us. One of the biggest accomplishments of President Trump's tenure is to move public opinion to recognize what a threat China is. We should have recognized this long ago. You know, I've got a bill, Mark, that would repeal the permanent grant of most favored nation status to China and require annual review, as we did back in the 1990s. We never should have stopped that. It helped offshore millions of our jobs to China. It's time to start taking steps to stand up to China, to bring those jobs back, and to check Chinese ambitions to dominate the world and to replace the United States as the world's leading superpower.
You think Joe Biden's up to this?
No, of course he's not. I mean, the only job Joe Biden ever created in 47 years of dealing with China is for his son, Hunter Biden. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden literally goes and toasts Xi Jinping, the dictator of China. There's no chance that Joe Biden will do anything other than return to the accommodationist and appeasement policy that we had towards China throughout the Obama-Biden administration.
It's frightening, isn't it? Because they undermine the United States military, Obama and Biden. They actually undermine the Veterans Administration. He goes out there talking about the military. He has shown no support for the military, has he?
No, Joe Biden has been wrong in every major foreign policy and national security question for 47 years.
Tom Cotton, I want to thank you, my friend. Keep up the good work, and God bless you, sir.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.